it was 1980 when Nandan came and first brought up the idea. I mean, it was in the works, but he came and said, yeah, we've decided to start this new company ourselves. And of course, I wouldn't do it without speaking to you. We were young, we were in love, and we had a whole life ahead of us. And here was this big thing that was being planned. And of course, I immediately said, it's a good idea. Maybe because I didn't know better, maybe because we were young, maybe this was the time in our life to take risks. If not, then when? And of course, we greatly respected Mr. Murthy, and we knew that this group of people, it was already very clear that they were very special. And so, at least from my point of view, I was more than happy to jump onto the idea right from the get-go. So the first years of Infosys, like any startup, I guess, were really exciting. And we were very young. I was 21, Nandan was 25 when we got married and Infosys started. And the first years in those days, all software had to be developed on site. So there we were with exactly 4 suitcases going from client side to client side in America. It was some of the best years of our lives. In those days we didn't have much money, but we had energy and we were in different parts of America. I was in Tampa, I was in Union City, I was in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in parts where actually I got to learn so much about the world. Even though we didn't have much of a stipend, as it was called in those days, we developed deep bonds of friendship which exist till this day. We didn't have much, but we had a lot to look forward to, and we had a lot of relationships that we were able to build. So we used to be, at the very young age of my early 20s, I was kind of like a mother hen already, because the young Infosys, usually boys, used to come sometimes live with us, or were sometimes very new to America, and we had to go pick them up. I had to go pick them up from the airport. I had to cook for many of them. I used to do these Saturday cookouts and make this tons of food which I spent the whole day making for these young Infosions, and my God, they ate it all up before 10 p.m. that night. And we talked and we bonded, and the idea of what Infosys would be was getting cemented, I realize now, in all those wonderful fun sessions that we used to have. So everybody did their bit, because as I said, the idea of Infosys was really bigger than all of us. We were such a large family. When we started, I knew every single Infosion, right? And we would have dinners together. It was a small family. Now it's a global large family of 350,000 people. So it's not my place to say honestly, but if I had to take that privilege, I would probably say, remember the roots. The things that are closest to my heart about Infosys is really the bonds that are built. Many companies, many founders, they separate. In so many companies, we have heard about this. There are bitter separations and partings. After 40 years, the founders are still together. But I think it shows the values of Infosys' founders, that till today everyone is together and we have deep bonds. For me, that tells actually a lot of the whole story of Infosys. We are at more than 40 years of Infosys, a company that was formed in 1981 and has gone through so many decades of good times and difficult times like any company. But I think when you look at least we feel, for all of us, the idea of Infosys was very, very powerful in all our lives. Our personal lives took a backseat to the idea of Infosys. And I think the kind of hard work that went into it, to building out Infosys as it is today, is really one of the reasons behind its success. And why does it still stay relevant? Because they had a very clear dream, the founders, that they would create a professional, ethical company that is built really to last, not only because of its values, because of its leadership, but also because it was going to get the right teams of people who are always going to look ahead and always be ready to serve the clients who needed help in the future. So it's a forward-looking company. It's solidly built on values. It's solidly built on the idea of building the best-in-class company in India, hiring the best kind of people and keeping that culture which makes everybody want to excel and provide what they keep saying, you know, customer satisfaction. I think all these things matter, but it's the values that bind Infosys together and keep it relevant today. Nothing that we all did was really a sacrifice because we knew what was being built. We understood the value of what was being built. And in hindsight, you know, Infosys would never be what it is today if all of these founders didn't give the kind of time that they did. So no regrets whatsoever. I was very happy that the ESOPs were being done. We talked about that. I was very happy that we were one of the first companies that were going to do ESOPs, for example. Of course, the success was there. And this idea of delayed gratification, all that is, you know, very important. It's not about the bottom line. It's not about profit and loss. It's about something much deeper that has held the company together. That's what I believe. Remember the roots of this company and where we came from, because that's what's going to inform the future of this company over the next several decades. Yeah, most of the stories, the fun stories about us and Infosys are really from the America days, from 1982 to 1989. Spent a lot of time in the US for Infosys, and as I said, we didn't have too much money. We had $500 of stipend, okay? And luckily in America food was cheap, transport was there wherever we went. The best thing were the public libraries, you know. The early years of Infosys and my real education in the public libraries of America joined in my head. So I used to go in the bus and pick up so many books and come home, books on physics, economics, history, culture, whatever. And that was something that has not. So I always feel I owe a great debt to the public libraries of America. And that was thanks to our postings of Infosys, which took us to those places. But because we didn't have too much money, we had to do all sorts of things. Like Raghavan was like, we used to call him a mall hopper, and he used to wait for all the sales to come. And then he used to take us all to these malls and we come 50% off, 20% off. And even then it would take us a whole day to find one thing that we thought was wasting part of our $500 on. I used to save up on all the grocery coupons, and because Nandan liked prawns and prawns were very expensive, on Saturdays I would have made sure that I'd saved something from somewhere else so that I could make him a meal of prawns on Saturday nights. And yeah, we used to go for movies once in a while with the boys. And I remember most of all, more than the movies, I remember we used to go to Pizza Hut. For us, Pizza Hut was like the most fancy dining in the world because it was not that cheap. We had to make that money last for the whole month, and we used to very carefully wait. And when we thought we all could afford to splurge, we used to go to Pizza Hut. I'll never forget how tasty the Pizza Hut pizza was at that time.